what's going on? Long story short, the most painful factory deaths ever. Haven't done one of these reactions in a long time. RIP
Oven
to all the
incident.
innocent
On the
people
morning of October
that
11th,
died on
2012,
October 11th.
62-year-old Jose Malena began his shift at the Bumblebee Foods plant in Santa
Damn, the man put the whole government photo? Or they shut down?
Fe Springs, California. He had worked there for years and knew the routine. The factory was enormous, filled.
They always say that. They worked there for years and always knew the routine. And then there's about to be some part of the routine that doesn't look routinely.
With forklifts, pallets of canned fish, and long rows of machinery. At the heart of the operation were the ovens, industrial pressure cookers large enough to hold thousands of cans at once. Each was more than 30 feet long, with a thick steel door that sealed tight before steam and pressure built inside. Just before 5 a.m., Malena started his usual tasks, loading carts full of tuna into one of the ovens. These carts rolled on tracks, pushed into the chamber one after another. Once the oven was full, the door would close and the cooking cycle would begin, raising the heat to more than 270 degrees Fahrenheit under intense steam. It was a routine Malena had carried out many times before. At some point, Malena stepped into the oven itself to check on the carts.
Now, this is no disrespect to Malena or Jose. Does this look part of the routine? Me personally, you would never ever in your life catch me going in no type of fucking anything that goes to 270 Fahrenheit.
Nobody saw him go inside. On the busy floor, surrounded by noise and movement, it wasn't obvious that one worker had disappeared into the machine. A co-worker, not realizing Malena was still inside, sealed the door. With the push of a button, the cooking cycle began. The door shut with a heavy clang. Steam hissed through the pipes as the temperature began to climb. Malena was trapped. Once the system engaged, there was no release until the full cycle ended. Inside, the chamber grew hotter and hotter, turning into a massive pressure cooker. For the next 2 hours, the factory ran as normal. Pallets were stacked.
Yo, honestly, not even on no not like I'm some type of like survival expert, but like, and on top of that, they're not gonna tell you what he did in there, obviously. But me personally, I'm taking out those tuna fishes, and I'm getting all of them together. I don't know. I'm trying to make an igloo with the tuna to like. I'm trying to say lower the heat, like or like I'll get all the tuna, and I would lay under it, or try to like go in the box or some shit, bro. Some shit. That's fucked up though.
Forklifts beeped, and other ovens cycled through their loads. Nobody noticed he was missing. His station appeared empty, but on a floor with hundreds of moving parts,
All right,
the
RP
shift
this guy.
ending with a death almost too brutal to imagine. The acid tank incident.
Oh
on
my
February
fucking gosh. It gets worse.
9th, 2019,
And this is recent years.
54-year-old Daniel Hill was on shift at Michigan Seamless Tube in South Lyon,
Damn, nigga put the whole government again.
Michigan. He was still new to one of the most dangerous tasks in the plant, checking the acid tanks. These were large open vats filled with hot sulfuric acid, heated to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The acid was used to strip rust and scale from steel tubes before they
strip rust?
were processed further. Just after noon, Hill walked across the platform above one of the tanks. The floor was slick with mist from the fumes, and the air smelled sharp, burning the nose and throat. At around 12:20 p.m., something went wrong. Hill slipped and fell directly into the vat of acid. Co-workers...
I wonder how that could have happened. You just said I'm not yelling at you, the nigga making the video.
Fumes,
but look.
And the air smelled sharp, burning the tanks. The floor was slick with mist.
The floor was slippery. How do you guys have toxic, slippery goo just on the floor? Like, this has to be a safety hazard. A super duper safety hazard. He slipped into the freaking...
Air smelled sharp, burning the nose and throat. At around 12:20 p.m., something went wrong. Hill slipped and fell directly into the vat of acid. Co-workers nearby rushed to pull him out. They managed to drag him from the tank within moments, but the damage was already catastrophic. The acid had soaked through his clothes instantly. His skin and flesh burned on contact. Witnesses later said it was one of the most horrifying things they had ever seen. They brought him to a safety shower and tried to wash the acid off with water. The hot chemical solution had already covered most of his body. His skin was peeling away. Despite the agony, he was conscious, screaming in pain as they tried to rinse him. Paramedics arrived quickly and rushed him to the University of Michigan Hospital in Ann Arbor. There, doctors did what they could, but the acid had burned too deeply. His injuries covered almost his entire body, and nothing could reverse the damage. Daniel Hill survived for nearly 11 hours after the fall. Throughout that time, the burns caused unbearable pain. Doctors gave him medication, but even then the suffering was beyond what most people could imagine. At 11:30 that night, he died from his injuries. Federal safety officials later investigated. In their report, the details of his death were reduced to a single cold line. Employee falls into tank of sulfuric acid and is killed. Months
Yep,
later,
told you.
Michigan regulators fined the company $32,500 for safety violations. Hill left behind a family and grandchildren. His death was described as both slow and agonizing as he burned alive from the inside out, surviving for hours in unrelenting pain. The burrito grinder incident.
No, pause. Wait, time out. Wait, did the government sue? The government sued them, not the family?
The details of his death were reduced to a single cold line. Employee falls into tank of sulfuric acid and is killed. Months later, Michigan regulators fined the company
Michigan regulators. That's crazy.
unrelenting pain. The burrito grinder incident.
What?
Imagine being able to build anything.
The burrito grinder incident?
July 13th, 2025.
Oh my god, this was yesterday. Wait, 2025. What year is this? This is like last week.
A 19-year-old worker was on his shift
No, not a baby.
at Tina's Burritos factory in Vernon, California. The plant produced frozen burritos on a massive scale, with rows of machines running long after the daytime staff had gone home. He worked in sanitation, cleaning the equipment after hours. That night, his task was one of the most dangerous in the building, washing down the industrial grinder that processed meat and beans. The machine was as big as a car, fitted with steel blades designed to pulverize food in seconds. Shortly before 9:30 p.m., something went wrong. Reports say the grinder was not fully shut down. As he leaned inside to clean it, the machine suddenly roared to life. In
The
an
nigga-
instant, the whir of the blades turned into a nightmare. His clothing caught, and before he could pull back, his body was dragged toward the spinning metal. He screamed for help. Coworkers nearby heard him and ran. They tried to hit the stop switch, but the machine was already tearing through him. The sound of his cries echoed over the grinding noise. Witnesses later said it was the most horrifying thing they had ever seen. By the time the grinder shut down, it was
It
too
didn't stop?
late. The 19-year-old had been pulled inside. First responders arrived quickly, but there was nothing they could do. He was declared dead at the scene.
Nah, that was Diablo. That the devil did that. What do you mean it didn't stop? And what do you mean it wasn't all the way off?
For his family, the tragedy was unbearable. A teenager, only just starting his adult life, went to work one evening and never came home.
That's
His last
fucked.
moments were spent in
It's actually fucked. That's a baby.
the printing press incident. On the
The what? Printing press incident? What the hell is that?
morning of February 27th, 2013, 26-year-old Jorge Perez arrived for his shift at Golden State Container in Los Angeles, California. The plant produced cardboard packaging for shipping and storage, and the factory floor was dominated by massive printing presses. Each press was the size of a truck, built with rollers and drums that stamped and cut cardboard into boxes. The machines ran constantly, the sound of pounding metal filling every corner of the building. Perez had worked around these machines before. They were fast and powerful, pulling entire sheets of
No,
cardboard.
you have like, it's fucked that like, but like honestly, sure you have to learn and watch these videos so you could just learn from other people's mistakes. You know what I'm trying to say? Like me personally, like with the guy with the like the last guy here, like before I go in there to clean it, I'm gonna knock the machine like, you're good? You blessed? You're off, right? Before I do anything.
Through their rollers in seconds. Workers had to be careful never to step too close.
Yep, 'cause
But when
your
you
shirt
spend
might pull
hours
you
in
in.
the same place every day, the danger can start to feel normal. That morning, Perez was assigned to one of
That was a line. Listen to the bar again.
in seconds. Workers had to be careful never to
Workers had to be careful.
step too close. But when you spend hours in the same place every day, the danger can start to feel normal. That
But when you spend hours in danger every day, I know Chicago niggas felt that line.
morning,
Danger starts to
Perez
feel
was
normal.
assigned to one of the larger presses. It was running as usual, its heavy rollers spinning nonstop. At some point during the shift, he moved too near. In an instant, the rollers caught him. The steady rhythm of the press broke suddenly. Workers nearby heard the difference. The machine made a grinding sound, and then they heard shouting. Perez had been pulled inside. Co-workers rushed forward. They hit the emergency stop, but the machine did not release him.
I'm trying
His
to
body
tell
was
you,
trapped
Diablo, the devil is in these factories. What the do you mean? He hit the emergency stop and it didn't stop. Is there an emergency stop for the emergency stop?
deep between the rollers. The press, designed only for cardboard, had gripped him with a force
Like, when you press the emergency stop and it doesn't stop, what the fuck do you do now? You call the Avengers?
no
Nope.
person could survive. Firefighters arrived quickly. Crews began the slow process of dismantling the machine. Piece by piece, they removed heavy metal
Oh my
parts.
God,
the work
piece-
lasted for nearly an hour as they tried to reach him without causing further harm.
That's
the factory
fucked.
floor was silent, except for the sound of tools striking steel. Workers stood back, watching in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. When Perez was finally pulled free, it was too late. The rollers had crushed him. The coroner pronounced him dead at the scene. The Iron Pot Incident. On June 2nd, 2022, 39-year-old Stephen Dierks came to work at Caterpillar's foundry in Mapleton, Illinois.
God
He had only
damn.
been at the job for
Please don't tell me he got crushed by those big ass trucks. Why does he keep doing that?
9 days. The plant made cast iron engine parts. On the melt floor stood giant open pots filled with molten iron, each one holding thousands of
Oh
pounds
my
of metal.
fucking gosh. This is the ghoul incident on crack. This melt floor? I know what they mean, but still, like, I'm taking it serious. Like, it's melting the floor?
Heated to more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat from the floor hit workers in the face as soon as they stepped onto the platform. That morning, Dierks went to take a
Yeah, this is worse than this situation.
sample of the iron, a normal job done before the metal was poured. He carried his tools to the platform and walked up to the edge of one of the pots. There were no guardrails to stop someone from falling.
I want to end the video so bad. What the do you mean there's no guardrails? Did you not hear what happened to Buddy over here? He slipped and fell.
The pot beneath him was about 11 feet deep, glowing
Jesus Christ, it gets worse. If he falls in, no one can save him. Buddy right here, he got saved because he was in like, what, 5 feet water?
with liquid iron that moved like water but burned hotter than lava. At some point during the task, Dierks slipped. In one step, he was gone.
Done,
He fell
gone,
straight into the pot.
gone.
There was no time to grab anything, no chance to hold on. His coworkers saw him fall,
Gone.
but the heat from the pot was so strong they could not get near. The molten iron consumed him instantly. At that temperature, survival was impossible even for a second. Later reports said he
Holy
was
shit, even for a second.
immediately incinerated. Work on the floor stopped at once. First responders arrived within minutes.
To do
but
what?
There was nothing to rescue and no body to recover. The pot had to be left to cool down, with workers ordered to keep their distance. In the following days,
I'm going home. I'm traumatized. I need pay. I need pay without work.
federal
Everything.
safety officials inspected the site. They wrote that the company had failed to protect workers from fall hazards
Duh.
near the molten iron pots. Caterpillar was fined $145,027. Stephen Dierks left behind 3 children. If you enjoyed this video,
Nah, that was crazier than this one.
instantly, his skin and flesh burned off,
Like this guy, he
but
got
the damage
saved.
nearby rushed to pull him out. They managed to drag him from the
Him right here, that listen to the narrator. Listen to him.
Waiting.
I didn't
docs
say
to
listen
write-
to you, my nigga. Listen to the narrator and the difference. He said, Buddy over here, he falls in, then he gets thing. He says right here, he died instantly. Watch.
but burned hotter than lava. At some point during the task, Dierks slipped. In one step, he was gone.